Good day and welcome to Fit Frequency Radio. I'm your host, Brad Taylor, along with Michael Bott. Michael, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic today, Brad. How are you doing?
You're doing fantastic.
Fantastic. Get the marbles out of my mouth right away.
Alrighty. Anything you want to share with us this morning before we bring on our wonderful guest, Liz O'Carroll, with Bring Change to Mind?
Your shoes are styling and profiling.
Well, thank you. We got a shoe game going on.
We do.
You got, what's the name of your shoes?
Dude shoes.
Dude, don't take my pizza. Dude shoes. Right?
And it's not from the movie Dude, Where's My Car either.
All right, dude. But your shoes look good.
Thanks.
You guys can't see them, but take my word for it. They look good. And I got white sneakers on. I look like I'm ready to get in my walker with my black socks pulled up to my knees and go down the beach. Right?
That's right.
All right. That has nothing to do with our wonderful guest. Mike had a great interview with Liz O'Carroll. You don't want to miss it. Back after this.
Being fit and healthy involves more than just physical fitness. We also need to encourage our members to consider the state of their nutrition and mental health to achieve sustainable long-term wellness goals. Because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, today we'll be talking to an advisory council member from one of our partnering organizations, Bring Change to Mind, about how we can be more mindful in our businesses and to maintain balance in our lives. Bring Change to Mind is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to encouraging dialogue about mental health and raising awareness, understanding, and empathy. They create multimedia campaigns, accurate storytelling movements, and develop with youth programs to encourage diverse cultural conversation and also around mental health. Now let's get into our conversation with today's guest, Liz O'Carroll. Liz is a certified holistic health coach, the founder of Misfit Wellness, and an advisory council member of Bring Change to Mind. Welcome to the program, Liz.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to meet you. So we're going to go ahead and just dive into a little bit of your story here. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, Liz, and your journey and where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So all growing up, I struggled with depression. I also have a mother that is bipolar and also struggled with disordered eating growing up. But my entire life was always very determined to kind of, quote unquote, overcome these things, and ended up going into a very successful corporate career in my 20s that was super, super high stress. And then around the time that I was 30, had to face all of these really kind of overwhelming health challenges. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, PCOS, lymphedema. I was told I was infertile, had to have invasive back surgery that took over 2 years to recover from. And this was all around the time that I was getting married. My parents got divorced. There just was this tremendous amount of stuff that was happening. And thankfully, in my 20s, I had discovered holistic health and the power of nutrition and diet and lifestyle choices. So did have some coping mechanisms that were super, super helpful. But it was still incredibly challenging and frustrating because I didn't feel like I had the tools and the resources and the support that I needed to navigate any of this stuff. And I live in San Francisco and had an incredible, healthcare system surrounding me. But because it was so frustrating, that's really essentially why I decided to leave my corporate career and start my business. I didn't want it to be as hard on other women as it's been on me. And I didn't want people to feel alone and ashamed. And so I really created Misfit Wellness to help people get those tools and the resources and the support that they need to be mentally and physically well.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of resources that that aren't typically there when you're going through those battles and trials and tribulations. And how long have you been this certified holistic health coach?
Just a couple years. I got into holistic health in my early 20s when I moved out to San Francisco, but I've only been practicing and have had my business for just a couple years.
Well, we're glad to have you here on our health and wellness side of the house. And since we're in the celebration of May being that mental health and awareness month, let's dig into that a little bit. From your perspective, what does the term mental health mean to you?
Oh, I mean, mental health to me is really all about being balanced, healthy, present, and in a state of mind where you can make decisions that support your mental and physical health and be your best self and live your best life, as cheesy as that sounds.
It's Mental health is something that people, I mean, today we can all agree the world is a little bit of a crazy place today, right? And, when it comes to the health and wellness space, that's one perspective that I don't think, even from like the gym side of the house, that we really take a look at. When it comes to the health and wellness space, we always talk about those physical goals and really don't, and nutritional goals, but there, you have that mental health side of things that I think there's a little bit of a gap. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I can say that, again, coming from the corporate world, I was in a male dominated industry where, health just wasn't really an issue and wasn't really discussed, especially not mental health. And even as I get into kind of, this holistic health world and this wellness world, mental health just isn't talked about as nearly as much as it should be, especially given its importance. I believe it's the foundation of everything. I mean, mental health completely changes how we experience our lives.
Absolutely. And, we think of all the different things that people are battling with, depression, self-worth, confidence. And I think you're exactly right, where mental health is, the catalyst to helping change, obviously, your physical goals and getting you on that nutritional pathway and really just creating that lifestyle change. So, how important is it to take care of your mental health in your overall, just health and wellness journey?
Oh, it's extremely important. I think, unfortunately, I learned the hard way that, like I said, mental health is everything. So, I prioritize it, and I encourage everyone that I coach and deal with to prioritize it. I have a mindful morning routine that I leverage. I'm really, really careful about stress management. I'm also very good about prioritizing sleep and just keeping an eye on that. And then also making sure that I'm, making diet and lifestyle choices to support my mental health. Having struggled with depression since, I was a little girl pretty much for as long as I can remember, I've just learned that if you don't prioritize it, it kind of always comes back to haunt you.
Absolutely. And what are some good ideas or suggestions when it comes to really balancing the three pillars, nutrition, obviously just fitness as far as physically working out, and then also with mental health? How would you suggest some good strategies or ideas to balance those three pillars?
I think the first strategy is always awareness. I always encourage people to start cultivating awareness around how much your overall mental health and your mental state is impacting the quality of your life. Because I think once you start doing that, you're going to be much more compelled on a day-to-day basis to make the right nutrition choices, to make choices about stress management, to prioritize sleep. But if you're not really paying attention, if you're kind of disconnected, you're just a lot less likely to make those choices. So I think awareness is the first step. I think the other thing is baby steps are okay. I think people are a lot of the time really overwhelmed by this idea that protecting your mental and physical health has to be complicated and overwhelming, and you've got to have like an 18-step journaling process in the morning, and you have to meditate on a cute little cushion in a corner for 30 minutes every day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way. I think baby steps are okay. Making little choices every day that will add up over time is just fine. You do what you have the time and the resources and the budget to do, but just do something that makes that declaration, every day that your mental health and your physical health are really important.
It's amazing that, it's consistency, right? It's those baby little steps, even on the fitness side of the house. And you've probably experienced this. Everybody wants to, they have that defining aha moment and, they want to jump just full right into the deep end, right? I mean, they just really want to go full attack and literally lose the weight as fast as they can. But, it's the consistency. It's like you said, it's those small little steps. That same thing goes in with nutrition, right? I mean, it's, just making those small little changes, just having that extra glass of water that you did. And it's okay to take these baby little steps. So
absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned
and
that.
I think that's what's sustainable long term too. I mean, sure, there's a tiny percentage of people out there that can make these really, really dramatic overnight changes and stick with them. But I emphasize tiny percentage of people. I mean, most people, it's easier to make those small changes that add up over time. So you're not kind of incurring whiplash. And candidly, I think that that's what's best for your mental health too, because stability and consistency are really important for mental health, especially if you're managing certain conditions. conditions like depression and anxiety, and especially for something like bipolar. So, those baby steps, they can be good for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having that long-term success and making that lifestyle change. Absolutely. Well, everyone, we have Liz O'Carroll on the line here. She's a certified holistic health coach. We're in some awesome dialogue, but we're going to take a quick few moments and then we'll be right back here with Liz O'Carroll.
Ready to have some fun this summer? Then join Snap Fitness before May 31st. Not only will you start evolving your health and fitness, but you'll be entered to win 2 tickets to the summer concert of your choice. Rock, rap, country, Hungarian folk music. Whatever your jam is, Snap Fitness is going to help you be there live. This offer is valid on all new memberships for the US and Canada in May. Prize valued at $400 US. Terms and conditions apply. Visit snapfitness.com/tickets for complete details.
Welcome on back. We have Liz O'Carroll, a certified holistic health coach and the founder of Misfit Wellness, and an advisory council member of Bring Change to Mind. Welcome on back to the episode. I know your business is particularly passionate about women's health. Can you share a little bit about the need you saw and how you were impacting that sector of healthcare?
Oh, absolutely. I could go on about this one for days. I think the biggest need that I saw was to create a safe space for women to talk about things that they often don't talk about. And this, candidly, this applies to males too, but things that are often cloaked in shame. So people aren't talking about them, and that means they're not getting the help that they need. For me, that was the disordered eating stuff. It was also depression, but it was also everything around infertility, PCOS, so many women out there struggle with also things like hypothyroidism, subclinical hypothyroidism. There are these things that are extremely, extremely common nowadays. I mean, endometriosis has been common enough for them to be a ton of pharmaceutical commercials about it. So that's when it's becoming really common. Right?
Yeah.
Yet nobody's talking about them. So the biggest thing that I try to do with my business is create the safe space, whether that's in a one-on-one coaching experience with me, through my community work, or through my corporate work. I do a lot of stuff with ERG women's groups with my corporate clients. But again, it's just about creating this safe space for women to open up about these things that they don't even realize how common they are, for them to feel less ashamed and for them to get the help that they need.
Absolutely. What would you find is kind of your most guilty pleasure when it comes to like self-care? I'll give you kind of some examples. Is it, getting facial treatment? Is it long bubble baths? What is your guilty pleasure when it comes to self-care?
Well, my guilty pleasure right now is anything on a budget because I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
So it used to be spa days when I was in corporate, but candidly now I love just a silent house and a good book and a cup of tea. It sounds so simple, but I found that that's what's really restorative for me. And my husband listens to sports or watches sports on TV like 28 hours out of the 24-hour day. So having just a quiet house and a good book and a cup of tea is really my ultimate form of self-care.
So was your house a little disruptive when Tiger won the Masters?
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh, I love it.
It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about a turnaround there when it comes to mental health himself. When you look at Tiger, I mean, just from having that same thing, like what you had, a bad back and having surgery and getting addicted to, prescription pills. And now he turned around and won the Masters. So it's pretty unbelievable. So let's talk about, what are some things that you can do to clear your mind on a daily or weekly basis?
Oh, I think the power of a mindful morning routine is incredible and anyone can benefit from it. Not everybody has 20 minutes in the morning. Most people are rushing through their mornings, or they've got kids to tend to, dogs to walk, that kind of thing. So even just 5 minutes without your phone in the morning, everybody looks at their phone the first thing that they do, from the moment they're awake, they're scrolling. So I encourage, pretty much everyone I meet, take 5 minutes in a perfect world, extend that until you actually get to work and just reclaim a little time in the morning to create some space in your head to do a little bit of deep breathing, get up and stretch in the morning, make yourself some tea, but just clear space to allow yourself to wake up and maybe even kind of set an intention for the day. Another great thing that you can do to kind of create space and support your mental health is just a little bit of deep breathing. Step into a quiet conference room at work, or even go into a stall in the bathroom if you have to. Do just 3 deep breaths. Studies have shown that 3 deep cleansing breaths that allow you to kind of create space in your abdomen and has your diaphragm rises up. It activates your vagus nerve, which releases chemicals that help suppress the an overactive stress response. So even just 3 deep breaths can be a really effective thing to do. And then I'm a huge advocate of meditation. It's also something that I think people are kind of overwhelmed and intimidated by, but you can use something like the Headspace app, which I love, and do it in as little as 2 minutes a day, pretty much anytime, anywhere. So I think meditation is really powerful too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Taking time to meditate is one I personally, I do it every morning myself. And it just gives you that clarity.
Right.
Yes. It gives you that clarity, sets you up for the day. And, you get, nothing's worse than starting a day already stressed out. So,
it just doesn't help.
Absolutely. So when it comes to just battling mental health, before we take a break here, does it ever get easier? You have people that battle depression and these self awareness issues. One of the biggest questions, probably people have is, does it get better over time?
It gets better if you are an active participant in your recovery and in your mental health. I think if you wake up every day and do the same thing over and over again, it's not going to get better. But if you are an advocate for your own health, if you empower yourself with knowledge, and that means like ask your doctor questions when they prescribe meds, do research yourself, talk to the pharmacist, and then away from medication, read books, take in everything that you can from different perspectives that will help you understand what you can do for yourself. Then if you do those things, again, be an advocate for yourself, and for your own mental health, and, make the changes that that are within your capacity to make, then I do think that it can get better over time. It absolutely has gotten better for me. I think there's always hope. There's always hope, but you have to be an advocate for your own health, and you have to empower yourself with knowledge.
Absolutely. Well, Liz, I appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure talking with you and getting to know you, and also you sharing some of the hints, tips, and success and strategies when it comes around mental health. We know that this coming up month is all surrounded around mental health. I really appreciate your time here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thanks. Take care, Liz.
All right. Thank you, Liz O'Carroll and Mike Vaught. Wonderful, wonderful interview today. Mike, some closing thoughts.
Yeah, it's just one of the things that I think that we forget to really recognize when we're trying to make this life change. Liz was a holistic health coach, right? So when you think about just as a health coach, it's much more than just your physical goals. And then, obviously working out and nutrition, she really brings that aspect of mental health, which is the main catalyst to really drive the other two. And like she mentioned, which was really interesting, even though she lived in the California, San Francisco market, the resources that are out there are pretty limited. I think of even, Brad, you would agree here in Minnesota, we're pretty health conscious, right? We're one of the most number one workout state in the nation. And even we don't have a lot of resources when it comes to mental health. And she gave just a ton of good strategies, even though she works primarily with women, but she gave strategies as a whole. One of the things that she talks about is, and I think it's a hard thing for everyone to do, is take that phone and don't even look at it for 5, 10, 15 minutes in the morning, and don't even let the chaos of the world start to enter your mind. Meditate, get your mind right, and make that time for you, and make it a dedication to put it consistently in your program. Obviously it's work, right, Brad? Nothing comes easy, but,
right.
She's gave a lot of really good strategies, and it was a pleasure to hear her actual story too as well.
Well, Mike, you did a wonderful job with that interview, and we thanks to Liz O'Carroll. So if you guys have questions or comments, fitfrequency@snapfitness.com. Fitfrequency@snapfitness.com is the email where you can comment on our guest this morning. That's the right email, right?
Correct.
Okay. So thanks for joining us. Again, on behalf of Liz O'Carroll and my wonderful co-host, Mike Bott, my name is Brad Taylor. You guys take care. So long. Do you have a joke or anything for us today, Mike? Anything at all? I have one really corny joke.
I want to hear your cardio joke.
They're all clean. They're family-friendly, PG.
I'm going to tee this one up to you today.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
You got me.
Ground beef. Ooh.
But up on chain.
There you go. Mackenzie's shaking her head.
Oh.
All right.